Grabbing the boards like, I'ma go coast to coast. I'm on beats like Do-si-do. They don't wanna go toe to toe. Step into my court, you can put in the poster.
What a play!
Yo, what up, it's your boy JDMC, guys. We're back with another video, you know the vibes. I'm still in my lounge. We're doing the lounge videos for now on my phone. Bear with me, guys. I'm in the process of getting like my new setup. I need to sort my desk and stuff out, so yeah. Regular videos coming back soon. We'll back in my room, but for now, we're in the lounge, you know. It is what it is. But what I want to do today is the NBA predictions video. I did one of these last year, and I actually rewatched that video. If you guys have the time or want to go check it out, do it, because yeah, I was wrong. So this year we're going to try to do a better job. It's obviously real hard to do predictions. So what we'll do is we'll predict like the top playoff teams, all the playoff teams, and we'll also predict like MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Depoy, all of that. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. I wrote down this stuff here, my list. This is all my knowledge on here, guys. And listen to me, when I tell you, I sat there in my kitchen for like 2.5 hours, like just researching stuff, just looking into it, making sure that I had like enough educated reason to pick these guesses, if that makes sense. Yes, I really tried. Probably will get most of them wrong because, as we know, like injuries, trades, all of that stuff, player performances, you can't really pre-predict that stuff. But let's get into it, guys. What we'll do is we'll start off with, I'm just going to read off my paper. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the standings. So we'll start with the East. So with the East standings, don't pay attention too much to the positions, I guess. I've tried to do it, yeah, as well as I could. So I've got Bucks first, with the Nets second, but that could easily be reversed. Then I've got the Heat at third, which is interesting because I do think the Heat will be very good. The reason I sort of question myself putting them third is just because I think they have like 7 to 8 really solid players, but as we know, during the regular season, you want like sort of that 10 to 12 players so you can have that rotation each night. And I think the Heat do have that, but I just think that, yeah, like from Kyle Lowry, obviously, Jimmy Butler, Bam, and then when you think of their shooters like Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and then I've added PJ Tucker Morris, I think those players are so solid, that's the top 4 team. But my only thing is, you know, if some of those players are missing games, like who's stepping up, do they have enough firepower there? But I've taken a shot and said they'll finish third. And then I've got the 76ers at fourth. Obviously the situation with Ben Simmons, he will be playing with them, and I still think they'll make them a top 4 team. Obviously we've finished first last year, so 4 is like a bit of a drop, but I just think with everyone, if everyone's healthy this year, like there's other top teams like the Nets and stuff, then yeah, I think the Sixers will still be a top 4 seed. With the Hawks, see the Hawks 5th, and then I've put the Celtics 6th. With the Hawks, I nearly wanted to put them a bit higher, just on the fact that I think they're young, they have a deep rotation, and I just think that, yeah, they could become like a really good regular season team. Like, you know, on the West, how you've got like those Nuggets and the Mavericks and stuff, I guess, who always seem to be decent. I just feel like, yeah, they'd sort of be up there like that a bit, but except in the East. But yeah, I think 5th, and Celtics at 6th. Similar to the Heat, I just think that if Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown are missing games, it could be tough. But I honestly wanted to put the Celtics up higher. I think saying they'll be a 6th seed sounds a little bit disrespectful. We'll have to see, but yeah, for me, it was really hard to put them above the Hawks or the Heat or the Sixers. I do think they're a better team than the Hawks, maybe, in terms of like the 2 stars compared to the Hawks' 2 stars. Yeah, I think Jason Tatum's a step above Trae still, and I think, yeah, that Jaylen Brown is better than like a John Collins and whatnot. So yeah, we'll have to see. I think the Celtics will be a lower seed, but I think they have a higher playoff chance. And then the play-in teams, this was tough, guys. The East is tough. This was stressing me out. Like I said before, I was just sitting in there for like 3 hours, yeah, looking into all this stuff. So I've got the Knicks, Bulls, Wizards, and Hornets. I do want to give a shout out to the Pacers and Raptors. I think they could as well, but the East is so tough, boys, like in terms of like picking the top 8 playoff teams. It's actually way harder than you guys might think. And yeah, so the Knicks obviously made it last year. Were like, what were they, 4th or 5th? The Knicks were 4th or 5th? Anyway, so yeah, to say that they'll fall into like a 7, 8, 9 or 10th seed sounds a bit crazy, but it was just hard for me to put them above any of those other top 6 teams. I think the Bulls will make a playoff push. I think the Wizards should be able to make a playoff push. And I think the Hornets could be that 9th, 10th seed who will, you know, just shout out to LaMelo Ball. We all like LaMelo Ball. And now moving on to the West, we'll skim through this one a bit quicker. I think with the East, there was more to talk about because it was way more difficult. But yeah, with the West, again, with the positionings, it could go either way. It could mix and match. But I reckon the Suns could be a 1st seed. Just in preseason, when they were playing their starters and stuff, they just looked on form. Obviously, they even made that finals run last year. I think the Suns are just, yeah, will probably end up being a 1st seed with the Jazz, yeah, being that 2nd seed. And then I've got Lakers at the 3rd seed. yeah, I think we'll see a lot of we'll see a few games with like the, you know, without the big three. You know, there'll be games where LeBron's not playing or Westbrook might not be playing or whatnot for whatever reason. Hopefully not injuries. Touch wood, because I'm a Lakers fan. But yeah, I just think they'll be like a 3rd seed. Hopefully. Nuggets 4th, Mavericks 5th, Clippers 6th. Obviously sounds disrespectful to have the Clippers 6th. I just think with Kawhi's injury, yeah, I think those other top 5 teams. I mean, they could have a better record than like the Mavericks and maybe like the Nuggets, but yeah, with teams like the Suns, Jazz, and Nuggets, I just think that they'll just win a lot of regular season games, and they'll be top 4 seeds. And then for the play-ins, I've got Warriors, Trailblazers, Grizzlies, and then Pelicans/Spurs. So Pelicans/Spurs, I think one of them will be the 10th seed. I think the Grizzlies will probably finish the 9th seed, and then I think the Warriors and Trailblazers will be like a 7th and 8th seed. You could definitely argue that the Warriors would be higher than that, and that's fine. We'll just have to see when Clay comes back and how they're moving, how they're looking with all the young blood. So yeah, I think I'm probably disrespecting the Warriors by saying they'll be a play-in team, well, not a top 6 seed, but we'll have to see. Sorry, Warriors fans. Jake, if you're watching this, my bro Jake, he's a huge Warriors fan. Sorry, bro, but yeah, for now they're playing teams. Because you keep talking down on the Lakers in preseason, that's what you get. But anyway, guys, now moving on to the awards, okay? So enough of the standings. Let's move on to the awards. Let's start off with Coach of the Year. The Coach of the Year, I reckon it's going to go to Quinn Snyder or, yeah, maybe like a Monty Williams. But I'll go with Quinn Snyder. I just think the Jazz year will be like I put in my standings at 2nd or 1st seed. So I think he's due for one, maybe. The Jazz have been a good regular season team for a while, and we know how Coach of the Year works. It's normally for like on some regular season stuff. So yeah, I think Quinn Snyder could get it this year. But again, this is so hard to predict, so we'll have to see. Moving on to Rookie of the Year. Last year I chose Killian Hayes, which was a bit of a silly one. I didn't want to go like the LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards route. I think I was just trying to be different, but that didn't work out for me. So this year I was gonna just go with like Cade Cunningham, because like to get Rookie of the Year, obviously because he's, you know, on the Pistons, obviously was the first pick. So it seems like a basic answer, but I just think he had opportunity to get it in that Pistons team. But I'm gonna go with Jalen Green, guys, I think, because Cade Cunningham, I mean, I hope he's fine, but you know, he missed a few preseason games because of his ankle injury, and apparently there was a problem in his last year of college, like he was missing a few regular season games, and I'm not saying that that's going to be the case when he gets into the NBA. I trust that these people around him and the right medical staff that are monitoring that ankle and making sure that it is good to go for when he's playing in the NBA, hence why he missed some of those regular season games. But yeah, I'll go with Jalen Green. Similar to Cade Cunningham, I just think that, yeah, being on that Rockets team, he's going to have the opportunity. He did get to play preseason, and he looked nice. I think he looks like a nice scorer, so he'll probably put up some numbers. I'm rooting for him. I think he's dope. I think that Rockets team's got some nice young talent now. Yeah, I think there'll be a team I'll keep a bit of an eye on, that Rockets team. Yeah, anyway, I'll go with Jalen, yeah, definitely Jalen Green for my Rookie of the Year. And now moving on to Most Improved. This was a tough one, but I was looking into like the history of it. It always seems to be a player who's like a borderline all-star who sort of turns into an all-star. So on sort of that sense, I looked through the teams, I looked through the players. I'm gonna have to go with DeAndre Ayton. He's coming into his 4th year. He seems around that range and that time in his career where players can sort of get that award. I think he will take a step up just based on the fact, you know, he's been talking about, yeah, wanting that max contract and stuff like that. And yeah, like last year he scored 14 points per game, and the year before I think he scored 18 points per game. Is that what I wrote down? Yeah, he scored 18 points per game. So I think he will go up to like a 20 point per game scorer. I think that would be hard to not give it to him. And if he can make an all-star team, then I definitely think he'll get it. Another dark horse maybe is Mikal Bridges, obviously on the same team, because hey, last year, what did I write down here? So in his career, his first year scored 8 points, second year 9 points, third year 13 points. I know it's not all about points, guys, and stats, these awards, but it's a good indication, and his defense is good, and it's continued to get better. So he maybe be a dark horse, but I just think he won't have the opportunity that DeAndre Ayton will, in the sense of like DeAndre Ayton's part of that big three with CP3 and Devin Booker, and yeah, he could be a 20 point per game, 12 to 14 rebound point per game guy, and I think if this is the year he's going to do it, if the Suns are like a top seed, you know, and they're winning all these games and continuing to improve, then I could definitely see him getting Most Improved Player. But that's a hard award to predict, but that's definitely my answer for that one. And now 6th Man of the Year, I've gone with Jordan Clarkson. I don't think we have to say too much about this. Like Lou Williams' days seem behind him, and Dennis Schroeder's like demands to be a starter now. I don't know if the Celtics are going to start him or not. They probably will, but yeah, Jordan Clarkson, right? And my dark horse, I guess, or my second option will be Tyler Hero. I think he might, unless he starts too much games, obviously. But I just think, you know, with Kyle Lowry, and then they've paid Duncan Robinson a lot, and then with Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, and Bam, I think that's going to be the Heat starting five. So I think a lot of the time Tyler Hero will be getting starter minutes or maybe closing the game, but starting on the bench. So he can maybe get it, you know, unless he plays too much games with like Duncan Robinson's not playing or Jimmy Butler's not playing. He starts a lot of the time because he definitely probably will be that first starter off the bench. So yeah, maybe Tyler Hero, but my answer is Jordan Clarkson. Depoy, much like I said about the Heat just then, I'm gonna go with Bam. Just on the sense of like, I think Rudy Gobert might have a bit of Depoy fatigue. He's got like 3 now, right? And I think he's gonna have to do something extra to re-get that award, but he still could definitely get it. But I think Bam, like when we think of this Heat team, I think they're going to be a great grind defensive team. I think it's going to be the identity. They've obviously got their shooters, they've got their scoring, but when we look at that Heat team with PJ Tucker, Bam, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, those boys are some dogs, and I think Bam's going to be like the, you know, the big brother, the big force of that. So yeah, I want to see Bam get Depoy. If anything, I think that'll be dope. He's definitely, you know, Jimmy Butler was trying to make a case for him last year. But yeah, I think Bam this year will get Depoy, especially if the Heat are like a 3rd seed, you know, like I said in my predictions before the standings. And now moving on to the MVP, but what I'll quickly do before I say it, because I don't want to make the video too long, guys, it's already been long enough, but what we'll do is I'm going to say who I think is going to win the NBA, and then we'll move into the MVP, and that can be the last one. So who I think is going to win the NBA, / want to win the NBA, is the Lakers, of course, guys. But as you might thinking, oh, he has to say that, but hear me out. I think the Lakers will win it. Well, I hope the Lakers will win it as well. But the only other options for me as an NBA fan, and putting my bias aside now, is obviously the Nets and the Bucks. I think the Bucks, you could obviously say last year, oh, if, you know, the other teams were healthy, they wouldn't have won or whatever. But Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis have got that ring now. Giannis, you guys have seen what he's been doing in the mid-range and those little flows and everything. If my man's going to get better, the Bucks definitely have a solid chance to repeat. With the Nets, obviously the Kyrie situation definitely doesn't look like he's going to play. So you can maybe not write them off, but you can maybe like, you know, discredit them a little bit in terms of a favorite, because if they had Kyrie, they'd obviously be more of a favorite. You know what I'm saying, guys? You know what I'm saying? But that being said, their supporting cast is still fire. And if you have Kevin Durant and James Harden on your team, you're not in a bad position at all. So I think the Lakers will win it as an NBA fan. I want the Lakers to win it as a Lakers fan, but I definitely do think that the Nets and Bucks have a solid chance, and maybe the Clippers, if Kawhi can come back and, you know, sort the Clippers' problems out, whatever they've been having these last few years. But that being said, my MVP, I'm gonna go with Luka again. Guys, Luka needs MVP. I think this could be the year. I think it was my prediction last year and he obviously didn't get it. But based on my standings I did at the start of this video, I said the Mavericks would be like a 5th seed. So I maybe think they might need to be a top 4 seed. But here's a few points I've written down and honorable mentions about MVP. Yeah, I've wrote there, if he's not a top 4 seed, could he still get the MVP, or would he still get the MVP? So yeah, that's interesting. Obviously Joker got it last year, but last year was just weird with injuries and stuff. You know, we sort of had to give it to Joker at the end, but Steph could obviously get it, but I think that Clay narrative is going to be huge. Like, if the Warriors are way better this year than last year, obviously, could we say, oh, it's because they got Clay? But you know, if Clay's not playing that great and is missing a lot of games, and the Warriors are still good, then obviously Curry could be a contender. Joker and Embiid, I wrote a question mark. Like, could they go for it again? Of course, maybe. And then I said, are the top teams too talent heavy for MVP? Like, are we writing off KD, Harden, LeBron, AD, who else do I write, like Giannis, like just because they're on these talented teams and because they've got MVPs before? I feel like we're sort of looking into the newer generation now. We're sort of in this like cross period. So yeah, I don't know if we're writing like, I'm not saying like LeBron could go for MVP run, but like, you know, KD could be MVP, Harden could be MVP, but are they canceling each other out? But you guys know what I'm saying, right? But yeah, that's what else I wrote. And then I also said, is it the young boys' turn? Like Trae Young, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell. Like Donovan Mitchell's been a top seed, 20 point per game plus scorer for a while now. Like, could we consider him? But for my answer, I'm gonna say Luka Doncic. That is my prediction. But that is all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you stuck to the end and you listened to me saying all of that, then I appreciate you. That's definitely my educated prediction, what I think is gonna happen. But as we all know, the NBA, it chooses what it wants to do. So we'll have to see how everything unfolds. But thank you guys so much for watching. Road to 2K. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe up there and peace.